Chapter 3. When Daisy's brain was finished melting, she looked up and found Elliot still standing beside her. He seemed to be waiting patiently until her breakdown was over. "I'm so sorry about that. I can't say I was expecting it," he said with a lopsided smile. Daisy groaned and ran her fingers through her shoulder-length hair. Of course she hadn't washed it in days, and it was a stringy mess. Of course David wouldn't have shown up on a day when her hair looked good. That would be too much to ask from the universe. I panicked. She returned to her spot behind the counter and started sorting bits of ribbon. Elliot continued to watch her, waiting for her to go on. Maybe that was what had her being so honest. He seemed genuinely interested to hear whatever crazy words were coming next. "It's just, they came in and they were so happy. And I hated that. And I know that makes me some kind of bad person. But seriously, who just waltzes into their ex's hometown flaunting their new? It's rude, frankly." Elliot let out a quiet laugh. "I agree. Who does that?" Daisy's gaze snapped to his, and she couldn't help returning his smile. She'd be lying if she said she'd really noticed Elliot before. Sure, there was that moment at the wedding, but she hadn't really considered him at the time. She wasn't supposed to be considering anyone right now. She was supposed to be healing. She'd sworn off men entirely and was perfectly fine with her new celibate lifestyle. Perfectly fine. But being in such close proximity to him now, it was impossible not to notice his shy smile and his messy hair. The way his dark-rimmed glasses drew attention to his dark eyes, and the way his cheeks flushed pink when she smiled back at him. Maybe she should have listened to Annie at the wedding. Maybe Elliot was cute. She shook her head. "No. Absolutely not. Team, sorry for dragging you into my web of lies." Elliot shrugged, another quiet laugh rumbling out of him. "It made my day more interesting. You're a pretty good actor." "It was a pretty easy part to play," he said, his smile growing. Was Elliot the nerdy architect flirting with her? Did she like it? Daisy's cheeks heated and a nervous flutter started in her belly. It had been a long time since she'd been flirted with. "Well, thank you." It made this interaction slightly less terrible. "With any luck, we scared them away from booking the inn," Elliot said with another shrug. "We can only hope." Daisy breathed out a long sigh. Just thinking about David being in town planning a wedding was giving her hives. How would she survive it if he stuck around? Weddings take forever to plan. He'd be here all the time. It had taken months for her to get to the barely functional place she was currently in. Look at me, wearing real clothes and being upright. Such progress. It had been nearly a year since she'd spent a full day crying. A few hours here and there, sure, but not a full day. But if David was around, if she had to see him, how the hell would she ever get over him? She bit down on her bottom lip. Hard. She would not cry in front of this nice man who she had already accosted and forced to be her fake boyfriend. She would not cry. "So, you were married to that guy?" It was clear from the tone of his voice just how Elliot felt about her ex. Which didn't seem fair based on their 5-minute interaction. "No, just engaged. We never even made it to the married part. Not crying, not crying, not crying. He's an idiot." Daisy's brows shot up, startled by Elliot's harsh words. She wasn't expecting them from his soft-spoken demeanor. "You don't even know him." "I know he didn't marry you. Seems like an idiot move to me." He held her gaze while he said it, and heat flooded Daisy's body. "You don't know me either," Daisy whispered, surprised by how much his words affected her. "I could have dead bodies in the basement." Elliot's lips rose in amusement. "Do you have dead bodies in the basement?" "No." Daisy narrowed her eyes at him. This conversation was going off the rails, and she didn't know how she felt about it. "But you don't know that. I could be crazy. I could have driven him away with my constant nagging and insecurity. Maybe I always thought he was mad at me and I was always asking, 'Are you mad at me?' And he just couldn't take it anymore." Oof, that was a little too honest. She swallowed the hot ball of emotion rising in her throat. She had always felt like she was grasping with David, like she was trying so hard to hold on to something that just wasn't working. Maybe, but Elliot shrugged again like he wouldn't mind if she asked him that a million times. "But it seems to me, he should have made you feel more secure." Daisy opened her mouth in an automatic urge to defend David, but maybe she didn't want to this time. Maybe it was nice hearing that the breakup wasn't all her fault. Maybe this was the first time she'd considered the idea that maybe if David had held her tighter, she wouldn't have had to grasp so hard. "If you ask me, David had a beautiful, intelligent, funny woman and he let her go." Doesn't make sense to me, but what do I know? I couldn't keep my ex-wife happy. You were married? Daisy asked, mostly to avoid thinking too much about the beautiful, intelligent, funny woman part of the whole thing. Elliot couldn't be cute and say things like that. Yep, for 5 years before she decided I wasn't worth the trouble, I guess. The way he said it sounded so resigned, so sure that he was the problem that Daisy instantly felt defensive of him. She sounds like an idiot. Elliot's smile hitched higher. Sounds like we both have a type. People who don't love us? That's about right. Bummer, Daisy said, even as she let out a resigned laugh. It was nice to finally have someone understand how she felt. Someone who didn't try to placate her with soothing words about how things always work out the way they're supposed to. Was she supposed to end up alone? Thanks, universe, and thanks, Aunt Jan, for pointing it out. I guess I should get my flowers and get going. Oh right, sorry. You didn't come in here just to play the role of fake boyfriend. Daisy rolled her eyes at how stupid the whole thing was, but Elliot stopped her in her tracks again. No, that was just a fun bonus. That lopsided grin was killing her, and every other thing out his mouth surprised her. Who the hell was this man? This guy who, until this very moment, had flown completely under the radar, but was now in here and flirting with her. Daisy's mind wandered to the feel of Elliot's strong arm around her shoulder, and she had to shake herself out of it. This man needed flowers, not to be sexually harassed. And she needed to stay far away from anything that looked like a relationship, fake or otherwise. What were you looking for? She asked, clearing her throat. I'm not sure, really. My mom is going to be staying at the seaside cottages for a while, and I just wanted to make it feel homier. Noah did a gorgeous job on those cottages. I'm sure she'll love her stay. But maybe a potted plant or two to breathe some life into the place? And maybe a flower arrangement for the table? That sounds perfect, thank you. Daisy got busy with collecting things Elliot's mom might like and distracted herself from how much she liked being his fake girlfriend, even if it was only for a few minutes. But it was nice to be flirted with. It was nice to be looked at like she was desirable. It was really freaking nice to not feel like a lovesick loser for half a minute. She was almost tempted to ask Elliot to keep up the charade. He could fill in for her body pillow and her +1 for all events moving forward. How about these? She asked, pushing away her insane thoughts to have Elliot be her emotional support date for the foreseeable future. Succulents are always nice and low maintenance, and philodendrons are pretty hard to kill. Plus they grow fast. These are great. Elliot added a colorful spring bouquet into the mix on the counter, and Daisy rang it all up. Place. I'm glad I came in today, he said, his shy smile back in. Me too. You really saved my butt. Elliot's smile grew, and the blush rose on his cheeks. She thought for a second that he was going to comment on her. And then she really wouldn't know what to do, but he just nodded and gathered up his plants in the box Daisy had packed them in. You should come in more often, she said as he turned to leave. He smiled at her over his shoulder. Maybe I will. Thanks, Daisy. She watched him go, and against her better judgment she found herself hoping he would be back soon.